Hello fellow rail fans, welcome back to another train guide video. Train Guides is a series where I provide useful operating techniques and information on certain trains in Train Sim World and Train Sim World 2. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Southern Class 377-4 on East Coastway. Some of you may know that I've already released a train guide video on this specific rolling stock, but I didn't really like how it turned out when I look back on it. This new version will be more in-depth and informative. I usually have two categories in these videos. The first one is some information and history of the rail car, while the second one is when we jump in the cab. I will leave a timestamp in the description of the video for when we get into the cab of the train. The British Rail Class 377 is a dual voltage electric multiple unit train built by Bombardier Transportation as a part of the Electrostar family. These units were built between 2001 and 2014 at Derby Litchurch Lane Works. Most southern services are run by the Class 377s. These rail cars work on suburban services in South London and mainline services to Sussex, Surrey, Kent, and the South Coast. When these units were first introduced, they were plagued by problems. One of these problems was that the units had a higher power consumption. This meant that major upgrades were required to the existing 750-volt third rail. The Class 377s are fitted with external CCTV. They have an open area for wheelchairs, and both intermediate cars have toilets. The doors are electrically powered, instead of air-powered like some of the previous rolling stock. All units can receive power from a third rail with 750 volts. The units in the 377-2, 377-5, and 377-7 subclasses are fitted with pantographs. We are only going to be using the Class 377-4 with third rail pickup. Each car is 9 feet in width, 12.5 feet in height, and 67 feet in length. The maximum speed of these units is 100 miles per hour. Let's get into the cab. We're now in the cab of the Class 377-4. We're going to be taking this train from Seaford to Lewes. We're going to be terminating this train at Lewes. Let's get the cab set up. So, we're going to want to put the master key in. I'm going to come over here, put the AWS, DSD Vigilance, and DRA to the normal position. You have your cab lights over here. Your right cab light, you have your signal. This is where the guard would be. Let's open the windows. You have your other cab light here for the driver. I'm going to put the reverser into the forward position. Press circle, the Q key, or B on Xbox to acknowledge the AWS. Let's put on the DRA for now. You have your speed set here. Let's put that on 10 to get ready for Lewes. Let's unlock the doors. You have your AC over here. I'm going to put it on floor heat only and about 13%. You have your headlights here. Day running. And auto will be the usual. If you're running at night, you'll put it on night running. So we got the display here. I'm going to select the PIS. We're going to press down until we reach our destination. Ours is Lewes, so we're going to go to Lewes, confirm destination, and press exit. You have your signal here, your whistle, your horn is over here, and your wiper is over here. You have your speed set on right here, and that's basically it. You have your DC select, MCB, we're not going to be messing with any of that. Some blinds for sunlight. I believe these are the CCTV screens. They don't work in the game. We're going to lock the doors. And let's turn off the HUD. We still have our DRA on, so we're going to turn that off. And we're going to get moving. We have a 70 mile per hour speed limit coming up, but our current speed limit is 15, so we are going to just accelerate up to 15 and hold our speed there until we pass the 70 board. Now this is a national rail train, so we have to follow national rail speed limits, which means that we cannot accelerate to the next speed limit unless the back of the train has passed the board. So we can only accelerate up to 70 after the last car passes. Now let's go over the safety systems real quick. You have your AWS, which will be triggered by a AWS magnet on a track. We are clear to accelerate now. It'll be triggered by an AWS magnet on the track, which will sound an alarm in the cab. It will either be a single ding, or it will sound a concurrent alarm, which you must acknowledge, or the train will go into emergency. The alarm can either be telling you that a speed limit reduction is coming up, there is a red signal, or a yellow signal. The DRA works like this. When you are at a red signal, when there is a red signal in front of you, turn the DRA on to remind you that you cannot move past the signal. It basically helps you avoid a SPAD, which is a signal past that danger. We're approaching the next station, so I'm just going to put the train into notch 1 braking to make sure we stop at the correct spot. We're going to want to stop at the S stop marker in this station right here. And you usually want to enter your stations at around 30 to 35 miles an hour. As you can hear there, that was the AWS magnet. And we're stopping right here at the S marker. We're going to unlock the left doors. Now let's go over the door operations. You have your SDO, which is selective door operation. You have all release, which will open all doors on that side, and door release, which will open the first 4 cars and doors. We have a good stopping position right here, and that sound that you heard just before entering the station was the AWS, telling us that we have a green signal up ahead. We're now going to close the doors. And we're going to accelerate. Our speed limit is 70, so we're going to accelerate up to 70 miles per hour. Let's go over the rest of the safety systems. You have your DSD, which is also called the DVD, which is a driver's vigilance device, which will sound an alarm in the cab every 45 seconds to a minute. That was the AWS alerting us to a speed limit change, but it will sound an alarm every 45 seconds to a minute, telling us that we need to acknowledge. We just passed a whistle board, which is a white W. Is a board with it's a circular board with a black outlining and a black W in the middle, telling you that you need to whistle. You need to press the whistle button when you pass that. Gonna start decelerating as we're about to come up to the 20 mile per hour speed reduction. And the 20 mile per hour speed reduction comes right before New Haven Marine. Now, since these are national rail trains, they don't have the best brakes like London Underground. So you're going to want to be cautious when entering stations. I suggest you enter stations at around 30 to 35 miles an hour. We have passed the 20 mile an hour speed board. So we are restricted to 20 miles per hour now. Now the sound design for this route is pretty good. The only thing that I wish they did include was a little more track noise for the train, and that is a big thing with train sim. world, there isn't a lot of track noise for the trains in the game. So we want to stop right here at the 4-car marker and unlock the left doors. Since we are running a 4-car service, we're going to want to stop at those 4-car markers. If you were running anything further, you're going to want to stop at the S marker, the 8 marker, and when you're at a station with an S marker, you have to stop at that marker. That means stop for all trains. Unless it says otherwise, like SHST, which means high-speed trains should only stop there. Now, when you are coupling to other trains, you should only come in at around 2 miles an hour, 1 to 2 miles an hour, and the train will auto connect. And when it connects, this door will open and you'll be able to walk through into the next car. Let's lock the doors and move on to the next station. Now we're still restricted to 20 miles an hour, so we have to keep that in mind. But I believe we're getting a 35 mile an hour speed limit increase at this next board, which we won't really be able to take advantage of right away because our next station is basically right down the block. Now I hope that in the future, if Dovetail does make more modern British rail routes, like Southeastern High Speed, they do get the sound design correct, because I like how the 377 sounds. Some people might say it's off. I haven't seen a real 377, but the sound design does sound very, very nice. I like the traction motor sound. But one thing I do know is there's a lot of track noise with trains, period, unless you're talking about some of the German trains. I have seen a lot of videos on those, and notice there isn't a lot of track noise. You have to stop at the S car marker here. And S car marker is kind of hidden right here, right in front of this countdown clock. Whole train is in the station. Now there will be certain stations like Lewes where the full train won't be able to fit into the station. That's actually a perfect stop right there. But there will be stations like Lewes where the whole train won't be able to fit into a station when you're running an 8-car service. In those cases, you're kind of out of luck. You just need to open every doors, and yes, the doors will be open outside of the platform. But as I said before, the SDO does not work in the game. I'm not sure if I said that before, but the SDO does not work properly in the game. It just opens every door. We're going to lock the doors and move on to the next station. You have a 35 mile an hour speed limit now. So you're going to accelerate right up to that. I really do enjoy these routes with the modern British rail trains. They are pretty relaxing. East Coastway is a very relaxing route to drive. Along with GWR, now I'm not really a big fan of the 166s. However, they are pretty fun to drive along with the Class 43s. So I really hope they make more of those types of routes, maybe like London Underground, London Overground, or the Gatwick Express, Elizabeth Line, some of those, maybe a modern GWR route or expansion. Now, with East Coastway, the stations are kind of spaced out a little bit. We have another train coming by. The stations are spaced out a bit, so you'll be able to take advantage of the speed, unlike lines like the Bakerloo, where you will get to the speed limit and then immediately have to start slowing down for the next station. But with these trains, it's not like the Bakerloo where you can come into the station full speed and expect to stop on a dime. With these, you need to come in at a reduced speed and smoothly stop the train. Now there's one thing I did mention in my Bakerloo line video where you shouldn't. We have passed another whistle board, so we're gonna whistle again. Where you should not feather the brakes. And feathering the brakes means going into notch 1 braking and then going back into notch 0. Feathering it like that. Now, as you can see, I'm keeping my speed at 65 miles an hour because I do not really know where the next station is. Somewhere around here. That was a DVD/DSD alerting me, making sure I was alive, and you need to acknowledge that. I believe that's the next station right up there, so we're gonna start slowing down. The reason I was staying at 65 is because I do not want to overrun this station, especially in the train guide video. And I know that there is a 60-mile-an-hour speed limit just after this station, or correction, just before. So we just passed another whistle board. Now we're coming into the station at 30. I believe that's a reasonable speed. We want to stop at the end of the platform. At the S car marker here. Now, East Coastway will be getting the Class 313s in a future DLC. It is on the roadmap. I will be doing another train guide video for when I get the Class 313s. And that will probably be between Eastbourne and Lewes instead of Seaford and Lewes, or Brighton and Lewes, actually. But I hope the 313s are authentic, as they are a pretty cool train, as I've seen in Train Sim 20. So as you can see here, I am actually stopping right before the S car marker. Now that is because, number one, you cannot lean in this game. In real life, the operator would probably lean a little forward to make sure they're stopping in the correct place. But another thing is, you can't really see through right here. This big blind spot. Let's lock the doors. I believe the next and last station is Lewes. Let's get moving. I just wish Dovetail put more of those S-stop markers in more of the routes, because some of the routes are missing them, like Rhine-Ver-Osten is missing the H-stop markers, and some of the other routes like GWR, I haven't seen S markers at every single station. So I hope Dovetail can put those markers in a little more than they usually have, kind of like what they're doing with the Munich to Augsburg route with the S-Bahn. I also hope that in the future, one of the new routes Dovetail makes will include a switchover to the pantograph system. Now we just passed the AWS magnet, which alerted us to, I believe, a speed limit decrease, probably of about 40 miles an hour, possibly 60. I wasn't able to see it as we passed by it kind of quickly, so I've just released the power handle, as I do not know what the next speed limit is. I did play this route beforehand, but I wasn't paying too much attention to the speed limits. Now when we're coming into Lewes, We have a couple of speed limit increases and decreases. It'll go straight down to 40, back up to 60, then down to 40 again, 20, and then 10. The speed limit coming into Luz is 10 miles per hour. And that is when I use the speed set to make sure I don't go over the limit and I'm not too far under the limit. There's the 40 limit board. So I've just dropped my speed down to about 45, 46 miles an hour, and we're going to cruise at this speed right here. Especially since one of the speed limit boards is kind of unnoticeable. If you're going by at a high speed, you might miss it. I notice myself missing the board a lot when I'm traveling down this portion at 70 miles an hour. I'm going to apply a little bit of power and make sure we don't go under 40. And we have that 40 limit right here. As I was saying, it might go unnoticed as it shows up just around those trees. And this is another thing I was talking about. It goes down to 40 and right back up to 60. So I'm going to raise my speed back up to 60 now. Since the last board said that I have a 60 limit now. And the next board is warning me again now about a 20 limit. And the next board is a 40. This is what I was talking about. Speed limits likes to play games with you around this part. Straight from 70 to 40 to 60 and back to 40. It's a lot of accelerating and decelerating. Coming around this curve, that signal right there is telling us that we are merging to the left. I'm going to start slowing down a little bit since we have a 20 limit right now. That is another 377 approaching, probably heading towards Eastbourne. Now we are under 10 miles an hour. We're going to click the speed set, make sure we're in notch 1. I'm going to let the speed set do the rest. And while we're at it, might as well get a quick thumbnail shot. So we're going to want to stop this train at I believe there's a 4 and 5 car marker at the end of the platform. We got the 2 and 3 to 5 right there. Now we have reached our terminal station for now. This train would actually continue on to Brighton, but that video would be too long for a train guide video. Now we are going to go over the shutdown procedure. Roll up the windows. Headlights go off. You keep your tail lights on auto. Turn the AC off. Lock your doors. Turn your speed set off. AWS goes on to the isolated position, vigilance, and DSD, all isolated, along with the DRA. The reverser goes into the off position, and the master key comes out. That is how you shut down the Class 377. And that was the train guide for the Class 377. If you enjoyed the video, if you learned something, hit the like button. If you are new to the channel, check out the other train guide videos and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next train guide or next regular video. Peace.